Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Maria Espona with ARGIC, Argentina Information Quality, and we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT, CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Tracy Parsons, CDO at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade of New Zealand. Welcome, Tracy.
Good morning, Maria. How are you?
Fine. I have a series of questions for you. If it's okay, I will start to asking them.
Great.
Thank you. So the first one is, when you arrived in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you were the first CDO, or there were already?
Yeah. That's right. So I started roughly 4 years ago, and I'm the first CDO for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade.
Fantastic. And usually when we think about change management or organization change management in private companies, so how do you see it happening in a government institution as yours?
So I'm a strong advocate of change management. I think that without a really extensive change management strategy, any organisational change initiative is going to fail. And so that's always been a key ingredient in any programs that I've led. I really love that Peter Drucker quote, which is culture eats strategy for lunch. And what that means to me is that with any organisational change, so in this case, managing and exploiting data, you can have the best strategy in the world, but unless you understand your organisation's culture and from that understanding build tactics to change the organisation from how it currently manages and uses data to where it needs to be, you're going to fail. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, change management, or what we call data and information literacy, is one of the key components of our strategy.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing this. And did you face any challenges when you start to work at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade in your role?
So lots of challenges. It's always the case when you're bringing in something new. It's the reason that it's not there is because the need isn't understood, or maybe there is resistance, although in this case it's that the need wasn't understood. The interesting thing about the world of diplomacy is that it's a career it's a career world. If you want to be a diplomat, there's only one place you can work at, which is my organisation. And so therefore people, foreign affairs officers are not exposed to other ways of working, and so therefore hadn't been exposed to the way of data. So the first challenge was to work with senior leadership to understand what were the opportunities for the ministry, and how could better data be used to inform important decisions, give insights, etc. And then from that, build understanding about exactly what we would need to do to enable that. I always think like the soft stuff is the hard stuff. So that's another quote I really like. And things like the values and the behaviours, which for us come from some our data principles, I think will be the hardest challenge ultimately. Some of the things that we've done to be successful or more successful is that our data principles, we've written principles which are they're plain English, they're not technical. We've very much tried to, public sector agencies have organisational principles. So our data principles line up with our organisational principles. And so in a way, we're creating a whole new language or way of speaking about data, or valuing it as an asset and then using it. And then we're continuing to embed that language into how the ministry speaks. An example of that is, you'll be aware that data stewardship is a really important concept in the data world. If you don't have good quality data with you, you're completely sunk at the first hurdle. So one of our values is kaitiakitanga. So what kaitiakitanga is, it's a Maori word which means stewardship, which of course fits perfectly for the the concept of data stewardship, which is one of our data values. But kaitiakitanga is a word which is well understood in the public sector. It fits with the ministry's values, but also in the broader New Zealand public sector, we have a new Public Service Act as of 2020, and kaitiakitanga is one of the values there. So that's an example of where we're taking other concepts which are relevant to the data world and then applying that as a way of building understanding within the ministry around the behaviours around how we look after our data, and then the principles in terms of how we use it.
Your explanation is fantastic, and I'm very glad that you were able to do all of these things, and your roadmap, how you went through step by step, trying to convince the stakeholders about the importance of dealing with in a better way or in a different way with data, because of course in your ministry before you dealt with data. It's not that they were not using them, but you structure the environment so in this way you improve the quality of the decision maker. So it's super.
Yeah, I think one of the big challenges is when you're working in an organisation that has never been exposed to data is how do you make it real? And so in my previous role, which was in the New Zealand Transport Agency, a lot of senior managers and staff there had been exposed to data and analytics. And it was the challenge there was how to get people to join together to do something which worked for the whole organisation. And so that required different change management tactics. But for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, where they had not been exposed to this new world, how could we make it real? So another big tactic that we've used is, and it's probably our key change management tactic, is what we call show, don't tell. Explaining ideas through words. For people who've never seen these ideas, is not that compelling. So what we've done is come up with ways that we can demonstrate what data and analytics could do for the ministry. So, for example, we built proof of concepts. And for senior leaders who'd never seen automated data products, to be able to see like something which was working, which answered important decisions, was a bit of a revelation for them because they did not understand these things could exist. So to be actually show something and get people excited is also, I think, certainly in the early days, we're a bit past that now, but in the early days, it was quite fundamental.
Yeah, I imagine the challenge at the beginning, but I think that when they saw at the end the products that you were able to do, it's like, as you say, a revelation of, wow, we have all of this here and we can understand it differently in the way that it's appropriate for them. Yeah. So this is fantastic. Thank you for making us think about all these topics, not only about data, but also about organizations and the role of women in the data world. And I would like to thank you again, Tracy Parsons, for joining me today. And please visit the cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.